Well, look what we have here. St. John's wort, a favorite herb among herbalists for a long, long time. Hang out with me today. We're going to go through this cluster of odds and ends that I have collected over the years. I just put them all in an envelope, because someday I would want to sit down with you and talk about St. John's wort. Hypericum perforatum. So this is very popular as a natural herbal antidepressant with other healing properties. It has a proven antidepressant effect to the point where if you're taking an MAO inhibitor, like prescription antidepressants, it'll tell you don't take St. John's wort because St. John's wort is proven to have an antidepressant effect and it'll mess with other medications. It's also a liver and gallbladder tonic. So there's a couple other things that you're going to want to remember about St. John's wort, and it's a great muscle massage oil. It relieves cramps, neuralgia. It's also very antiseptic, and it's got vulnerary properties. It's got some healing properties, and you can make an oil. We're going to talk about that. The red oil, the red tincture. And also, it is used for some digestive problems, and you use the flowering tops. So it's a great herb to talk about right now because in Pennsylvania, anyways, it's in bloom. It always blooms around the summer solstice. And I like to collect some and make a tincture. It's great to have the tincture because you never know how depressing the next winter might be. If you've got that seasonal affective disorder from the lack of sunlight, or if you just have like other nervous conditions and suffer from insomnia and tension and things like that. So it's definitely advocated for the treatment of mild to moderate depression. And I think what surprises me the most that I often forget is that it is a tonic for the gallbladder and the liver and to treat digestive disorders. Also might be helpful for PMS and menopause related things. So it likes to grow in dry places. I often see it when we're kayaking and like there's a rocky bank and it'll grow there. It grows alongside of the road. This is a great illustration of it. It's very, very, very close. Perennial herb, yellow flowers, black dots. There's almost like little like holes in the flowers and the leaves. Like it looks kind of dotted, but it's not exactly holes, but it just seems to literally take in the sunshine. Calmative purposes. You can make a tea from the flowers, and it's useful for treating menstruation difficulties. An oil preparation is used as an expectorant and topically to treat burns and wounds. And the entire plant smells of turpentine. Okay, that's what this card said. I love this card though. Super cute. Let's put it up here. Here I printed out something from henriette's-herb.com. Henriette's, you use a flowering top. It strengthens the nerves. It strengthens the nervous system and is mood lifting. It is somewhat drying. Make an oil from the fresh flowering tops and use it in trauma and to strengthen the nerves. Take St. John's wort for urinary tract infections, gut problems. Now, Henriette says it's better to take nutrients for depression. Don't take St. John's wort if your meds are tailored to your metabolism, if you've had an organ transplant, or with depression meds. Disclaim out the wazoo. Look at the bottom here, though. I like her little symbology there. It's more towards the drier side, and it's kind of neutral as to whether it's warming or cooling. So here is one from, oh my gosh, what's their website called? They did Herb Fairies. You know who I'm talking about. I think I got a poster one time, and I don't know, it got ripped. But then I was like, you know what? I'm saving it, and I'm making cards out of it. I was just such a scavenger. St. John's wort. This says it's cool and dry, nervous system, tropho-restorative, vulnerary, anti-inflammatory, antidepressant, antiviral, astringent for mild depression associated with the lack of the sun, sciatica, or other nerve pain, cold sores, liver function. So we can make an oil, we can make a tincture, we can make a tea. I kind of feel like personally I should dabble more with the tea this season so I don't become a raging alcoholic with all the tincture that sometimes it takes, to get me through the winter months. I'm just saying, it's really I think it tastes good. And I always laugh. I'm like, is it the St. John's wort that helps, or is it just the vodka? Because vodka always works. All right, that's bad advice from Herbal Marie. Be quiet. St. John's wort oil. So the next 2 pages are about the oil to make, let's put this little flower here while I read. To make the best St. John's wort oil, according to this unidentified piece of paper that I have saved for years and years, infuse fresh flowers and buds in olive oil in the sun for up to 2 weeks before straining. That's a while. It should turn a deep red oil when you put the fresh flowers and buds in olive oil in the sun. I would assume you're going to shake that, but it's really great for nerve pain. While it's not as specific for the joint pain of arthritis, many sufferers still find relief. It's also great for chronic pain like sciatica. Apply the oil liberally into the skin and along the painful area. I think I'm definitely going to do that this year because, I know I was joking about being a raging alcoholic. And I was joking because I still have tincture from last year. Like, I don't overdo it, usually. Used for a wide variety of topical ailments, including scars and diaper rash. It's very safe. The oil may go rancid or grow bacteria and mold over time, so replace it each year. Sometimes people have trouble making an oil with the fresh plant. So, you could let it wilt overnight to let some of the moisture out of it, or just be sure to shake the bejesus out of it. And I don't know if you've got any advice for making oils. If you're a veteran down there, put it in the comments. And if you've got any advice for making oils with fresh plant material. Relaxing and warming, St. John's wort oil, good for stiff muscles. Recovery from stress and overstimulation, calms the nervous system, gently warms the body. Put it on bumps, bruises, sprains, pains, and burns. St. John's wort oil. Here's a whole page out of the 1990. What does this say? The Complete Guide to Natural Healing. Man, I loved getting these new packets of plants. I probably spent $1 billion on these cards. So this says that the St. John's wort oil, it's a medicinal oil that can be prepared from the flowers of the St. John's wort plant. Hypericin, the coloring agent in the yellow flowers and green leaves of St. John's wort, gives the oil its deep red hue. So here is a picture. They're saying, hey, it should be a deep red color. The tincture definitely gets deep red. The oil is used in tinctures sometimes. You could, sure. You could put that in anything, I suppose, because it's safe to make a tea. It's safe to make a tincture. You could ingest the oil. I don't see why not. Do you? Disclaim out the wazoo. You're on your own. When the medicinal oil is taken internally, it can help relieve gastric inflammation. So it's warming. It might help promote circulation, suitable for skincare, muscle cramps, bruises, strains. It's also mild disinfectant and astringent, so you can put it on burns and abrasions. Now, this says the directions for making the oil on this page says pick the yellow flowers as soon as they bloom. Finely chop 2 ounces of the flowers. They're just using the flowers. And add them to a clear glass bottle with a half a cup of cold pressed olive oil. That's not very much at all. I mean, I usually make things en masse, I suppose, without sealing the bottle. This says leave it open. Steep the oil in a sunny spot for 2 weeks, occasionally shaking the bottle. Filter the red oil and let it settle and decant the oil into another bottle. All right, there you go. There you go. So that'll let off some of the moisture out of it. That could be helpful. Let's flip it over here and see what we've got on the back of this page. Proven for treating depression, burns, fresh wounds, rheumatic joint inflammation, bruises, sprains, strains, digestive orders, inflammation of the intestinal mucous membranes, ulcers of the gastrointestinal tract, and bronchitis. So yes, you can massage this on your muscles. You can, massage in itself stimulates the body's blood flow, but the St. John's wort helps with that and helps warm you up and relax the muscles. Disinfectants are the main components of the St. John's wort oil. The essential oil also relieves pain and swelling, so it's often the treatment of choice for bruises, sprains, and rheumatism. And yes, we did mention that taken internally, it is used in treating depression and relieving gallbladder pain and coughing and menstrual cramps, as well as inflammation of the digestive system. That's pretty amazing. This hypericin promotes the flow of blood through the capillaries. That's the tiniest blood vessels. And because of its mood-enhancing effect, it's also an antidepressant. St. John's wort harmonizes the sleep-wake cycle and is often recommended for curing sleep disorders. Plus, the tannins, flavonoids, and the essential oil from the plant have antiseptic properties. Now, here there's some capsules there containing important lecithin, a building block of nerve cells. And you take the capsules to relieve nervous exhaustion, anxiety, and tension. So I'm assuming it's a natural source of lecithin. St. John's wort will help speed the healing of sprains, bruises, and strains. So yeah, you make this oil, you massage yourself with it. Now's the time to harvest the fresh flowers, get them in some olive oil, and then you can apply it to scar tissue if you've got lingering pain. So there's also, you could rub some on your child's inner thighs if they've got a problem with bedwetting, because the St. John's wort oil will increase the sensitivity of the muscle that closes the bladder. Let's see what else this thing says. An enema with St. John's wort is recommended for hemorrhoids. Use an enema syringe to insert a few teaspoons of the oil into the rectum. Hold the oil as long as possible. It will relieve inflammation in the intestine and pain during evacuation. Yeah, you could make like a cocoa butter capsule too with maybe St. John's wort oil. That would also be a remedy for your butthole. All right, so proven for the depression. We talked about that. A compress for the wounds. It's good for healing abrasions and mild burns. And then insect bites too. So not only does it clean and disinfect the site, but it also relieves the itching. So just dab some oil on the insect bites, and you could then always remember that if you do tincture this, it's good for your gastrointestinal. So these are really beautiful pictures that they've captured of St. John's wort. So here we've got it in the garden, and then we'll talk about tea. I decided not to go with any books today, although I do have one book sitting on my lap that's gorgeous, and I'll show you what that is. But this St. John's wort folder had enough goodies in it that I just felt like we could definitely cover what you want to remember about St. John's wort. It does usually display its splendor. This page says around June 24, St. John's Day. So it is named for John the Baptist. And it's got the hypericin, the red pigment, and that's what makes the tincture and the oil red. We've definitely covered that it's got depressant effect, antiviral, antibiotic, maybe as a possible treatment for AIDS patients. It also benefits the treatment of herpes virus and mononucleosis. It loves sunny, warm locations. It definitely loves sunny, warm locations. Here's a nice drawing of it. Likes well-drained soil, maybe with a high humus content, and it's about 2 to 3 feet tall. And you harvest it between June and August, near the time of the summer solstice. In ancient times, the summer solstice was believed to be a magical day. St. John's wort was used to ward off fears and ghosts and nightmares. It is therefore known as a witch's herb. An onion planted on St. John's night will grow and grow to a farmer's delight. Just thought I'd throw that in there. So, though you can harvest it from June to August, the fresh plant contains the highest active contents at the end of June. For the tea, gather the upper non-woody parts and hang them in a dark place with the flower heads down. Use only the flowers to make herb oil. The fresh flowers can be used to make an oil that is proven particularly curative for skin problems, bruises, and rheumatic ailments. If you're growing this in your yard, you can fertilize St. John's wort with compost in the spring and feed it with organic fertilizer as necessary. It does not thrive in waterlogged soil, but it does tolerate dryness well. And then in the fall, you can cut back the stems to just above ground level. Its small, bright yellow flowers consist of 5 petals with long, feathery stamens at the center. The slender oval leaves grow in opposite pairs. If held up to the light, the leaves appear to be perforated. Now, there are ornamental and balcony varieties of Hypericum, and they usually don't contain any healing properties according to this page. So I think stick with Mother Nature. The stuff that's growing out there, that works super well. Look at all that. Holy moly. So let's make some tea. It said cut off the flowering tops, dry it upside down. Now you can take the dried St. John's wort, about 2 teaspoons and 1 cup of boiling water, and steep for 10 minutes. Filter the tea through a strainer as you pour it into a cup. If you want to sweeten it, you can. You can drink 1 to 2 cups every morning and evening. So this says, in natural medicine, the herb St. John's wort is considered to be the psychological counterpart of arnica, which alleviates physical pain. St. John's wort can temper emotional discomfort, lift depression, and calm the nerves. This herb is widely prescribed from mild to moderate depression and anxiety, and is also applied externally to heal wounds and reduce inflammation. Similar to some types of antidepressant medications, St. John's wort is believed to raise the concentration of serotonin in the brain and enhance its activity. This neurotransmitter helps to regulate mood. A tea made from St. John's wort relaxes and soothes the psyche without causing sleepiness or addiction. Keep in mind that the mood elevating properties of St. John's wort do not appear for several weeks, and the remedy must be used for at least a few months to produce lasting effects. So don't give up on your therapy and other ways to raise your vibration. But I like that it improves capillary circulation. That's super cool. Yes, helping us to stay happy, relieving mild or moderate depression, anxiety, helping us sleep. Yes, thank you. Easing gastrointestinal distress. Yes, thank you, because a lot of that comes from anxiety. Increasing cardiac circulation. Sure, sounds good. Promotes wound healing, reduces inflammation, diuretic properties, and it might be effective against viruses. That's a pretty nice resume there, John. So the flavonoids and essential oils help fight inflammation. And that is how it helps nerve pain, and it could help first degree burns, wound healing. Now, disclaim out the wazoo. Avoid overexposure to sunlight when taking St. John's wort, because the hypericin in the herb increases the skin's photosensitivity. A bad sunburn, rash, or even blistering could result. So John's like kind of something, that maybe if you're drinking the tea, that's a winter thing for you. So you harvest it this month, you let it dry, get nice and dry, but really don't partake until the sun goes down. And that definitely happens in Pennsylvania. Like other parts of the world, you might have sun all year. We don't. So for disinfecting wounds, you could use the tincture on the skin. The tincture also relieves frostbite. What? Let me see this thing. Frostbite and general hypothermia by improving capillary circulation. All right. That just confirms that even if I get happy, like solid across the board, I still want to take this stuff, because anything that improves circulation is cool for me. So bringing blood and oxygen to the tissues. So if you have a burn, you need a little extra healing to make that happen. And if you really needed to make a quick tincture, it says steep the herb covered in a half a cup of 100 proof alcohol for 10 days. So they just let theirs in there for 10 days, called it done, strained it out, and used the tincture as needed. And then the oil, though, you get a couple handfuls of them flowers and you put some olive oil over it. That says let it sit in the sun for 3 to 4 weeks, shaking it regularly. And it should take on a reddish hue if you got it right, if you've got the right flowers. So yeah, put that on all your boo-boos, your inflammations, your sprains, your bruises, your wounds, your skin inflammations, and your hemorrhoids. So now for PMS, it's calming and diuretic. So that might help relieve some of the water retention and headaches, nervousness, moodiness, and cramping. So girl's best friend is St. John. So there's a couple other recipes for tea. If you want to up it up, nervous tension, you can pair that St. John's wort with some lemon balm or valerian. For coughing, put St. John's wort and thyme together with some linden. That'll help you out. Migraines, you could do St. John's wort, valerian, linden, and juniper. So that could be your migraines, and that's going to help dilate the blood vessels and improve circulation. So there's a lot you can do with this flower that's going to be growing around you. Take a look at this, because once you start to see St. John's wort, even if you never really noticed it before, you'll be driving down the road and you're going to see it. You're literally going to see it, and it's going to make you so happy. Maybe that's how St. John's wort works. we're like spouting off allopathic things about this plant, but I mean, maybe it's just like seeing it with your eyes. That's what actually how it works for me. It just really makes me happy. But hey, if it helps with colds, flu, stomach ache, and depression, thank you very much. It's always nice to know what's growing out in the world that could help you as a tea, a tincture, an infused oil. Yeah, you could make a salve with that oil. And of course, we definitely, again and again, get reminded we can put it on our butts if they are sore. And I really like being reminded that it's good for stomach aches. This says you could add the oil to like your homemade salad dressings. Sure, why not? And drink it as a tea. You could make the tincture. And it'd be great for your colds and migraines and stomach ailments and insomnia and depression. But yeah, St. John wort heightens the skin's sensitivity to the sun. Exposure to sunlight during the course of treatment may result in a skin rash or a sunburn. So I've never really had any trouble with that, but I usually do lay off of it once it's nice out. I have heard that you can still use the oil, no trouble, but just taking it internally. I don't know, fuck around and find out, All right, so St. John's wort affirmations. This was from Herb Oracle, that little podcast that I used to live for. I made these affirmations to connect with the spirit of St. John's wort. I am shining my light. I allow inspiration and creativity to flow. I cultivate happiness, vitality, and joy. I clearly communicate my thoughts and ideas. I contemplate my purpose. I balance the energies within and boost my mood. I am stable and bright. So yeah, thank you very much, St. John's wort, for reminding us of all of that. It's just a common perennial found in dry places, but there is so much that St. John's wort can do for you. So remember it. When you see it, you can use it internally like an infusion or a tea. You can even use that tea externally. You could use it as a wash for wounds. You could use it as a vaginal douche. It could be used on hypersensitive skin. You could add it to your bath, depending on how much St. John's wort you find in the wild. You can get wild with how many different ways you can use it. And ironically, the red oil, you can apply it to a sunburn as therapy. So it's kind of weird that like it might make you more sensitive to the sun, but then dang, guess what? That oil is going to fix up everyone and have you feel less pain. So I do want to show you these beautiful, beautiful pictures in my new favorite book. It's just so wonderful to have a great look at St. John's wort and have it blown up, to have a good look at it. So yes, those are the flowers, supersized, and the leaves. Very good. All right, you guys, that concludes our hangout. Getting nerdy with St. John's wort, thinking about making some tea, making some oil. What are you going to do with it? We will see.